What I think is we live in a time where if you are a person that wants to make things happen, this is the best age to be born in. But if you were born like in Europe or the States, you have access to food, shelter, and water, which allows you to have a laptop, to open it, to learn, to do things that can change the world. So as long as you decide to have that mindset where it's like, I'm leveraging technology, I'm staying in contact with my community, I'm solving problems for humans out there, you will win big time. And if you don't, well, I mean, at the end of the day, also, we live in a world that rewards problem solving, that rewards people with energy, that rewards people who go out there and impact the species, the community, the country. If you don't have intention of building anything, then it's like, why are you cannot expect, to be a millionaire if you're not helping 10,000 people live better lives. When you are being useful to your people, to your family, you feel an alignment. You feel like you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, compared to the opposite, where you are a millionaire and nobody cares about who you are and what you do. So you live isolated because they lost the initial purpose of just simply connecting with the community, of doing cool things with cool people.
Out west where the sun always beams bright, Midland skies keep the hustle in sight. BAM Consultants got the blueprint intact. For dreamers on the grind, they got your back. Championing dreams from the ground to supreme, providing that spark, igniting the team. Marketing flow strategies that glean. BAM in Midland, building your dream. They teach the-
BAM! Here we are, BAM BizTalk. Another episode for you folks out there. I am here with a special guest from across the planet. From Italy, Mr. Alex Northstar. How you doing, Alex?
It is a pleasure to be here. Buongiorno. I'm happy to be on the show, and I hope that I can be useful for the people today. Hi there.
Absolutely. I believe so, because we met in Las Vegas a couple years ago, and it was before like the mass public was really into what's going on right now. We were kind of at the forefront, and you've been at the forefront longer than I have, of AI and the explosion of AI. Your business is centered around AI, but and right now AI is divisive, right? It's very divisive. A lot of people are, AI is going to change the world, and then there's this other half group of people, doom, no, it's going to be the end of the world. Before we get into that, I'm curious about Alex, the man, the myth, the legend, all the way from Italy. Tell us about yourself, Alex. I know you have, you've been a teacher. You've talked to big Fortune 500 companies. You've helped lots of companies really develop. But before then, tell us a little bit about your background, where you come from, and how you got to where you are.
I used to be a dishwasher. Angel. I used to wash frying pans for $3 an hour, and I hated it.
Yes.
Okay, it sucked. I don't come from a rich family. A lot of people think I'm into tech. I must have been to like Cornell Tech or Harvard or whatever. No. I have humble starts, beginnings. My dad was a fisherman. I am from a small town in Italy. The only thing that God gave me was my passion for English that allowed me to practice, right? Because I have a little bit of a talent with languages. I also speak like German and a few other languages. So since a young age, I started reading these American books on self-improvement, on business, on marketing. And I was a freak. Nobody around me understood what this was about. What do you mean self-improvement? What do you mean like marketing, webinars, funnels?
Yeah.
Like you go to Italy, people don't talk about it. They talk about pineapple on pizza. They talk about when you should drink cappuccino or not, right? So I come from humble beginnings. I used to work at a restaurant like a lot of the kids here, and I wasn't happy with this. I was like, is there something better, different that I can do, right? To not be for the next 40 years stuck washing frying pans for $3 per hour. So then I started getting all these ideas, right, of digital businesses, of entrepreneurship, of building product solutions for people's needs. So that's how I got in the first time. And this was like a long time ago. I think this was like 2015 or something, into learning German and digital marketing. And that's how I got a job at Google in Berlin, which was pretty neat.
That's awesome.
But it was a lot of work. All right. So for people out there, like this was a very gradual ascension. Like I really had to go through the grinds of working in customer service, of learning German, of spending time doing free Coursera courses until one day somebody decided to bet on me and give me a little chance. A little chance. So then that kind of changed my life. Now, the story is much longer, but we only have around 1 hour for this podcast. So all I want to tell people is like, I come from a normal guy working as a waiter, working as a barista, working in the kitchen, washing dishes, that decided to just learn. And this is where it ties in with AI. I'm going to tell you in a bit, if you keep following the episode, everything is going to connect. But like, that's what the first gave me the freedom, reading books, learning those ideas, and then slowly applying them to make my knowledge more valuable, to make my execution faster, to make my ideas more valuable for people. And doing this, right, until at one point in 2019, I did like my master's thesis before getting the job in Berlin, was on chatbots. Now, you need to understand, because nowadays when you say chatbots, majority of people know what those are. But back in the days, that was not popular. You were a misunderstood nerd. They're like, what are those? Is this like science fiction, the movies? So my whole idea is like, look, we're going to have these sooner than you think. We're going to talk with computers, literally talk. And people are like, you're out of your mind. And it's like, you wait. And in November 2022, when they launched this strange thing called Chat GPT that exploded, that was the moment where like I knew I was right, basically. And I created my own education company to help people understand the change that's coming, make them future proof, and make sure that people can leverage this technology and actually put it to work. And that's kind of then the rest is history, working around the globe, helping companies, founders, entrepreneurs, universities, schools, essentially to understand what this is and how is it useful to us to be better humans, be more successful, accomplished humans.
I love
Thank you
that.
for listening for my little TED talk here.
Yeah, I can see you on TikTok, because you're a very good communicator. Like you said, like you had you learned English very well. You speak very well English. And,
Appreciate you.
And that comes, it just didn't happen, right? It comes from putting the work in. You got to put the work in, swing the hammer. And like you were just telling your story, it wasn't an overnight success. It took years for an overnight success, right?
It took me only 10 years.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It took only 10 years of washing dishes for 2 years, of working in customer service for 2 years, of learning German for 3 years, of trying and failing, of creating a business, trying to start a company, being laughed by people for a whole year, telling me AI is just a fad, posting 20,000 times on social media in the span of 1.5 years until people started saying, hey, we want to understand more about this AI thing. It doesn't seem to be a fad. Who can we ask? There's this guy who keeps posting on Twitter and LinkedIn like a monster daily. His content is not great, but he's relentless. There you go. Everybody can do this, but you just have to be persistent. I think nowadays young people are not persistent anymore. That's a quality that people lack.
Absolutely. And I think that's been a growing trend over the past several decades since technology has been more in the palm of our hand, more now than ever before, right? Like the evolution of technology has led us to be lazy, just to put it flat out, a lot of it. So the intellectual work that we put, it takes less. So, we act like it's less, because when you don't put the work in, you don't appreciate it. What you're getting. If it's handed to you, you don't get it. And I think that's throughout life in anything,
This actually connects with psychology. I need to just one thing that I think it can be valuable for the audience here. We learn when we struggle. I come from a teaching background, teaching corporate background, because my job was to teach people how to learn faster. And you think, the best way is just to read stuff and kind of memorize it. Actually, the best way when we learn is when we struggle. When comprehension is difficult, when you look at this stuff and it's like, I just don't understand it, because your brain is forced to physically change, to rewire itself, to see the connections, to understand the concepts. And during it, it's rough. Nobody likes it. You sleep on it for a couple of days. You come back and it's like, now you understand nuclear physics.
Yeah.
It takes time and it needs your brain to rewire. And I think this is the issue. I think that people nowadays, when they have adversity, they don't face it. They just pivot.
It's because it's so easy to get out of the way,
Right.
Yes. But through that the adversity, it is like just the concept of evolution. That's what it is. You have to go through adversity and things that are in nature. They became that way because they were They were solving a problem. Their species was solving a problem. It was solution to a problem. And that's what business is. And at the core of it, that's what AI is. Because all these problems that AI is, we're now able to solve and get a deeper insight because AI can see more than what our human eye and minds can see. Yeah, it's for instance, the Leonardo's painting of the Last Supper. You know, if people, if you have not looked into what AI has found in that painting, it will blow your mind. Because this man, 400 or 500 years ago, put in like secret little details and in the background layers upon layers upon layers of things that were not known until AI was able to decipher them all and see through. Right. So that's amazing right there. Just Leonardo da Vinci, you know, like one of the greats, right? From Italy, you know, a brother, right? Like, you know, so that actually, that's so fitting. I didn't think about that. So that's perfect that I was just, you know, came across that this morning. But AI will take us to the other side, right? Because right now it's chaos. Everything's chaos. The world's in chaos. You know, we have, I'm not going to get political, but we have all kinds of factions that are the system's crumbling.
Yeah.
You know,
the old institutions, the old way of learning, of guiding people, of managing, you know, like of putting people together, I think is changing drastically. And again, you see this with the newer generations, also how we collaborate with each other. Now, one thing is not changing. I can tell you that, like, humans always enjoy hanging out with other humans. Yes. I've been noticing this after COVID. I've been noticing this even with AI. People appreciate even more. Now, I literally did a workshop like 5 months ago, AI and wine. Okay. I bought 6 bottles of Italian wine, Chianti wine. I got a full room, overbooked. I had no more space in the room where people just wanted to learn about AI, hang out with each other, and drink Italian wine. I should be doing this every 2 weeks. People loved it. So you see that at the end of the day, they will say like, oh no, everything is more digitalized. Not in the way you think. Digitalization allows us to think faster, to try to connect better. But at the end of the day, you want to be with other humans in the room, dancing, eating, laughing, connecting. That's what we want.
Yes. No, man, I love that 1,000%. I love that AI and wine, by the way. I love that as a
You should join us. As I said, I did that in Bulgaria in a little remote village because he was like, I didn't know what to do that weekend. He's like, you know what, let me put this together, see if anybody wants to join. There was no space to walk in the room. No. I had not enough wine for everybody. And it was even fun because I was forbidden to say the word AI. Every time I said the word AI, I had to take a sip of wine. So it went great for the first half an hour. Then I slipped a couple of times and then it went downhill because I was mentioning the word. I was like, oh no. And I was like, at the end, man, it was rough. But it was Saturday.
AI for you.
But you know, it's great. Sometimes it's also the experience. That's why I think because people think it's this obscure technology. They don't know how it works. It's magic. It loves me. It has feelings like simplify it. Make it simple. Like my job, look, at the end of the day, right? When I get hired by these bigger companies or whatever, they're just looking for clarity. There's like, can we use this safely? Is this helping our people? What should we know about it? And because I eat the stuff like 10 hours per day, I'm able to give them some shortcuts. That's all I do. And at the end of the day, it's education, implementation, but also accountability. So being next to the employee, to the human, to the team leader, to the manager, to the boss, to the founder, that needs to make sense of this. And they don't have time, right? Because if your business is into selling car tires, right? You've been making your money for 20 years with that. You probably know that you could use AI to do faster customer service, to reply to leads much faster, right? But you're like, how do I do this? Where do I start? And that's why you'd want somebody that has expertise and can guide you, not just a YouTube video, not just a chatbot. Like, as you go to ChatGPT and ask it and it gives like a 10-page response, then you're like, what am I supposed to do with this? Right.
You're right. Right.
I've been there.
For sure. No, absolutely. Because you can go down such a rabbit hole to where it's just overwhelming and confusing. Like, hey, what is it even trying to tell me? You know?
Right.
But I think that's in the learning and the education part, that it's a tool and it's a skill.
Yes.
That's developed. You know, because you can, hey, make this better. Okay. And it's going to do what it thinks to make it better, right? And then like, what is this?
Right. So then at that point, you would need, for example, a person that tells you, can you show me your instructions, your prompts, right? And they would tell me, oh, look, I use this. And it's like, look, if you would give this prompt to your husband or to your wife, would they understand this?
Yeah.
Right. And then you see that a lot of times, a lot of founders are dreamers. They think that AI can just read their mind and make things happen. But you do need to put in the effort to be specific, to understand how your business works. Why are people buying from you? What more can you give them? And when you have human clarity, you can use AI to like make it faster, better, sharper. But if you don't know what you're doing and you say just make it better, it can go all over the place. And I wouldn't think it's the AI's fault. It's like, do you have clarity? No. So then what do you expect?
Exactly. And I love how, you're thinking of it's still all about our humanness, because the more we do go into this AI world, the tech world it just seems to just go. It slides, right? But the human aspect of it, the core of it, we have to keep what do we call in the AI? We keep the human in the loop, right? Keep the human in it, because that's how we are going to understand and interact with it to optimize our lives, our environments.
Right. Right. Because like, look, at the end of the day, this is controversial technology. Like, I'm not going to pull back punches. Like, sometimes I talk with business owners and they ask me, can I just use AI and fire some people to make it leaner? I don't think that's the right choice.
Right.
Because if you'd have good people that served you well in the last years, right, and they've been doing good work, why don't you make them AI superstars? Why don't you make them AI champions? So look, at the end of the day, it's like if you look at the economy or the market 20 years ago, they used to ask you for Microsoft proficiency. And you're like, what is that? Well, can you use Excel? Can you use Outlook to send emails, right? We take that as a given now. Obviously, you know how to use a computer. That was not a given like 15 years ago. The same way I'm seeing this technology. Like, I had a friend of mine, he's a big entrepreneur in Belgium. And since 1 year and a half, he's been telling me, if they're not using AI, I don't hire them. Also because when you have these AI superstars, right, these are people who can scale their impact. These are problem solvers. These are not workers. These are problem solvers. These are multidisciplinary people. These are motivated learners, curious people. And this is why we humans are so incredibly valuable, right? And you should keep them in the loop, because you got a curious problem solver that knows how to connect the dots. You give them 10 AI agents, he can do the work of 5 employees. I would pay triple for a person like that. And companies are paying fat money for those kind of people. Whenever you hear like layoffs, well, look, how are you impacting the bottom line of the company, right? We're entrepreneurs. We are supposed to make revenue by helping people. If I hire 10 people and I pay half of the team is bringing nothing to the table, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah. No, I think you're absolutely right, because that is a skill set that we should know, like Microsoft, like knowing how to type, right? That's right. A given. Right, decades ago, it was like that was a whole skill set.
That was not a given. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that was not a given, and I see it the same way today. Like, when you send your CV, if you put in your CV like expert in AI orchestration, being able to build solutions and MVPs in a couple of days, I would love to hire people like those, and they're rare because they put in the effort to understand this technology and make it work. Now, I'm not hiring the AI agent. I'm hiring the guy or the woman who's using that stuff.
The BAM BizTalk podcast is brought to you by Power Funding Limited, the leader in cash flow solutions for growing businesses. If your business is waiting 30, 60, even 90 days to get paid, but your expenses can't wait, Power Funding Ltd has the solution. They specialize in invoice factoring, helping you turn unpaid invoices into immediate working capital. That means same-day funding, no startup fees, and access to up to 98% of your invoice value so you can keep your operations moving without delay. From trucking and oil field services to staffing and manufacturing, Power Funding supports businesses across industries with fast, flexible funding designed for real growth. And the best part, it's not alone. It's your money, just faster. Stop letting slow payments control your business. Take control of your cash flow today. Visit powerfundingltd.com or call 432-235-3167 to get started. Power Funding Limited, giving you the power to grow.
This episode of BAM BizTalk is brought to you by Flash Mobile. Whether you're managing your business, chasing your dreams, or just handling life on the go, Flash Mobile gives you nationwide for GLTE coverage. No contracts and total freedom, all at a price that makes sense. Activate your plan in minutes. Bring your own device. Stay in control wherever life takes you. Contact us and make the switch today. And now let's get back to today's show.
You know, this is a great topic because, you know, the scared side of the equation is, oh, it's going to take all the jobs. AI is going to overtake anything, and we're not going to have any jobs. So I want to talk about that a little bit, because starting off this one example. So in the X-ray technician in the healthcare industry, right? So when AI got introduced to be able to read the X-rays, automatically they're like, oh, okay, well, there goes the X-ray tech jobs, right? Well, what actually happened is the jobs increased. They had to hire more tech, more X-ray techs, because now, since it was efficient, you didn't have to spend big money to hire more, because if you're just hiring more X-ray techs, you're just loading up, more payroll and more expenses without the return, because it's still slow. But now that AI can interpret it much quicker, now you increase the human element, and now it's able to the operation is not the actual operation, but operations as far as the healthcare industry is concerned. Now it ramps that up and speeds that up. It detects things that the human was missing. So now hospitals are seeing, oh, well, that's much more efficient to hire more to get them through faster, instead of waiting, a week or 2 weeks for the results to come back from somebody reading it. So I think that there's going to be lots of examples like that throughout. Yeah. Is it going to be rough? Because like you were thinking, a lot of, these bigger companies, they're thinking first cut, and then, I want to cut employees, so learn AI, instead of wait, let's just learn AI and see where it lands,
Right. So that's why, like, my approach comes from an abundance mindset. So in my opinion, when I talk with those business owners that think scarcity is like, oh, if I let go 3 employees, right, or 30 or whatever, I'm going to save on 20% of cost. That's not the game you want to play as an entrepreneur. You don't want to save on cost. You want to increase your revenue. Like, if I could double your revenue, like, what would you prefer? Have 20% cost cuts or double your revenue?
Double it all day.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. But for that, what do you need? You need a better service, faster delivery, scalable, which AI allows you to do all of these. But how? Do you just go to ChatGPT and ask it? No, you need the people who you have to use it. So then, if you look at it, what do you need? You need the people. You do need them, because when you don't have the people anymore, because you replaced everything with automation, and the automation breaks or doesn't behave the way you expect, what do? Does the automation self-improve? No. So that's why, like, ideally, I would want to have a team of superstars. So what didn't change was our quest to have smart people, which at the end of the day, as a society, you should want that, right? Imagine whenever you go to the doctor and the guy is incompetent. Who wants that? You're going to say, like, oh, doctors are going to lose their jobs. From my opinion, if incompetent doctors lose their jobs, yes, please. But if we do use this technology to make everybody more competent and deliver better services, especially in healthcare, as you mentioned, right? Especially because we need more physicians. We need to have better services for an aging population to take care of us. Yes, please. That's what we need to be doing with this technology. And also get robots to wash dishes and clothes. But that's another topic.
That's the icing on the cake. That's the plus.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I believe that going down this AI path will allow doctors to actually be doing the human aspect of it. Because right now they're pressed for time.
Yeah.
That okay, they'll put in 5 minutes with you. If you come in, all right, 5 minutes, they're out. Because they have the next one, right? It's a system that's, it's not meant for sustainability. But with AI, if AI can improve that efficiency, then it allows the human to be human. And it allows us the connection. It allows us to really live a life where all businesses, I'm going to get some flack for saying this, but where pretty much all business can be like a lifestyle business.
Yeah. And that's the end goal. Look, that's the end goal. You have no idea how many times I talk with business owners, right? Just because, whatever they do, and ask, what's the end goal for you? Right? You're using AI. Why? Because a lot of times people are stuck and they say, I want to make more money. That's a medium. That's not a destination. Because once you make more money, why are you making all this money? Because you want to be free, because you want to spend time. You want to spend 2 hours dinner time with your wife and kids. You don't want to spend half an hour because you have to run to answer emails, or you want to have more time to go fishing, which maybe currently you're pressed, right? You don't have. So at the end of the day, that's why you're using all this technology and all these developments to live, as you say, a lifestyle that gives you enough freedom, hobbies, connection with people. Because that's why we stay on this planet for around, I don't know, 70 to 90 years to 100 maybe in the future. To connect with people, to eat good food, to travel a little bit, and to spend time with loved ones. That's it. Don't overcomplicate.
That is like the single greatest factor in living a long life. It's connection to people, your relationships.
Yeah.
Because you can like abstain from all the vices. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't do that, eat clean. But if you don't have the human connection, you're not going to live as long as somebody who smokes, drinks, but they laugh and they joke and they're always out with people and connecting. And, that it's their energy that keeps them alive and keeps them pushing, so I agree with that. 100%.
Again, look, I come from Italy. Like, our culture is towards lifestyle. Like, because we have the saying, like, we don't live to work, we work to live. So like, I must have my job in order to have income and freedom to live, to go and eat lasagna, to go on the beach, to drink my cappuccino. Like, that's why I'm working, so I can chill out with my friends and laugh and play the guitar on the beach. Yeah. Which ultimately, why would you not want this? Why would you want to be stuck at 2 a.m. in your house answering customer service emails for like what? For some extra revenue? Like, it's not worth it. Or put it differently, it's a misaligned goal. Because the goalpost keeps going up and up. I work with companies from all levels, from like founders, single founders doing quite well, teams of like 10 to 20 people. I had even a couple enterprise clients with like hundreds of employees. And then you see these patterns sometimes where they're so obsessed with the work, they're like, why are you doing all of this?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's hard for
me. And to me, this is, by the way, sorry to just cut you off there, because all I wanted to say is, like, to me, it's an extremely valuable question, especially in the age of AI, because if you can automate and delegate all the stuff, then what are you humans supposed to be doing? And to me, the answer is enjoy life. That's what you're supposed to be doing. Travel more, eat more delicious food. Don't put pineapple on pizza, the basics.
So that's a no-go for you, huh?
No. Obviously, they will remove my passport if I dare to come with that stuff. No, sir.
I do want to, but on the cappuccino, I do remember at the conference in Vegas, you were, where can I get a good cappuccino around here, right? Every morning you had to leave. You had to leave the hotel to go get it and come back. It was a thing.
I couldn't find it to save my life. It was crazy. They had like this drip coffee. And like, no, please, just give me a nice espresso or a cappuccino or something. And there was like this bar around at the other hotel that I would just use to go and like, thank you, you saved my life here.
But it's
small things, the small pleasures. Yes. Like, why am I making the money I'm making if I can't even manage to find a drink that I enjoy? What's the point? Like, you make 50K per month or whatever, and you're drinking coffee that you don't like. What are you doing?
What? Yeah, that's not living your life, right?
I mean, I don't know. You tell me. Like, am I wrong here?
No.
I get really political about coffee, but that's talk for another.
Coffee and pizza, right?
Yeah. We're gonna the basics. Yeah.
No, but you're so right though. The lifestyle, your life, because I've come to a point here recently, and I only do want to do cool things with cool people, right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yes.
If somebody comes into my ecosystem and they're already not aligned and it's just going to be a struggle and it's headaches, I don't want that. You know, I don't want that. I've learned that it's okay to fire a customer.
There you go. There you go. I
Yes.
had literally this talk yesterday. So I had somebody reach out to me. It's like, hey, we can collaborate? They and they're like, because I already have some existing clients, they would need help with automation. And I was telling them, I have some ideas for us. We can do this and this. And they're like, yeah, but sometimes, they tend to be, they really are fixated with some things. And I was like, wait. If I have to work with people I don't like that give me orders, I'm not doing that. Like, I have no need to do that, first of all.
Mhm.
But second, I don't think it's ever a good use of energy working with those kind of people in general. Because look, when you're working aligned, right? My clients, the people I work with, I like them. I like them
Yes.
as people. Went to Santa Barbara once to visit a client training with their whole team, and they loved it. And we went for like wine tasting. I had a client come visit me in Rome, and we went for tiramisu and dinner. Like, the people I work with, I like them, which
Yes.
means I put in extra effort to make sure that they are winning, and I take care of
Yes.
them. And that's the
Yes.
energy you want to have
Mhm.
as an entrepreneur, as a founder. Because if you're working with like 20 clients and you hate their guts, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah. It's toxic for yourself, right?
And you
You,
think, and by the way, you think they do not perceive that? You like when you're working and you're like, oh my God, in 10 minutes I have this call with this guy. I really don't want to do it. And then you jump on the call. You think they're not going to notice that energy.
right. Yeah. They're like, you all right? You having a bad day? I was like, no, I was actually having a good day till a little while ago.
Like, I had workshops with people like 2 a.m. and I would just make the jokes, right? It's like, oh, it's 2 a.m. here in Italy, but I'm happy to talk with you guys. Like, aren't you tired? It's like, no, because I love what I'm doing. Like, I'm happy to be here with you guys to help you out, to have a nice talk, to learn new things. And this is what also allows you to do these kind of things, right? To be awake at 2 a.m. to deliver a high quality service compared to
Mm,
saying, I don't know, I'm not in the mood, man. You're
yeah.
not going to win because you're going to find people that are enthusiastic and they're going to beat you every time.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Enthusiasm. Urgency, right? Like the high energy, like, yes, let's go. Let's live. Let's have good energy, good vibes because, you're right. However, where you're at energy wise, what you're thinking, what you're feeling, you put it out there. It's emanating and that affects everybody around you.
And that's
So
again something that AI does not have. This is why people
mm,
do not have the full picture, when they think purely in automations, purely in business, KPIs and metrics. Is like when you have aligned values and aligned energy and aligned people, that's where magic starts happening. That's where you have a mix of smart, passionate, curious people who are using the best technology in the world to win at whatever you're doing, to offer people a service that you're proud of that's making a difference. Now, to me, the beauty of all of this is that it's allowed the small people to do this, right? Even me, okay, I'm not a big guy. Like, if you'd asked me 3 years ago if I would be able to run a company like this, it would have been impossible. Like, I wouldn't have the enough time on earth to do all of this, or I would need to hire a lot of people. What I find cool about this technology is that it's empowering. It allows you to scale. It allows you to build at a faster level, better if you know what you're doing, without needing 50K of capital in your first year. Which means
yes.
at the end of the day, we give people the freedom to make the world a better place. Because now, if they say, I'm not a developer, you're not stuck to washing frying pans. You can go to Claude and say, help me build a website to help people with this specific pain point that I know it's valid in my hometown. There you go.
Yes. Yes. So part of my services, I'm a web designer, web developer. And last couple of years, I've been like, you know what? I'm just not really into it anymore. I want to push that to the back burner. I want to, pivot on something else. But then here comes Claude, right? Like you said it, right? And now designing website is fun again. Like I'm loving designing websites now because now it's about how I can communicate to build
Yeah.
what I have in my head instead of worrying about dimensions and
Yeah.
shades
Yeah.
and color palette. You know what I mean? Like worrying about all the small technical details. And then the overall is like, well, I have to rush that because I already promised delivery and I'm closing up on it. But now it's like that's up front. That's all front loaded. now and then it's just, it's so much easier. So I'm loving the possibilities that it's creating,
Right.
because I'm relevant again.
Right. And but you see, but that's why, because you spend time on acquiring a valuable skill first. Then when you started losing enthusiasm, you kept experimenting until you found ways to be better, to learn and stuff. And this is what I would love people to do more, because in my opinion, all of us have this capacity. Like you don't need to be smart to do this. You just need to want to do it.
Yes.
And for this, all you need is awareness, right? You need to wake up in the morning and say, I want to try out more things. I want to see if this works. And if it doesn't work, why? I want to read more. Like these are free. All these things are free to do. This is why I love it. And whenever I go and teach in schools, right? AI usage and AI literacy, I tell them, you have a tool nowadays that allows you to start chasing your dreams immediately. I didn't have it back in my days. I had to read these books. It took me 2 weeks to read these hundreds of books to get 2 decent ideas, right? To give me something to work with. Nowadays, I just go to ChatGPT and say, hey, use the principles from Alex Hormozi, help me package a good offer. I start some cold email campaigns. I send them to 2,000 business owners in Miami, out of which if 20 say, yes, this is actually relevant to me, help me out. There you go. In literally 1 week, you can print $10,000.
Yes.
Unheard of.
Right.
If you told me when I was 15, that this is doable, right, I would be like, this is science fiction. I wouldn't even, like, back in the days, man, like for me in Italy as a kid, $10,000, it was like, I would need to work a whole year to make it.
Yeah.
The BAM BizTalk podcast is brought to you by our sponsor, Pachuco's Restaurant. Craving authentic and eclectic cuisine in Midland? Well, Pachuco's has you covered. Located in downtown Midland at the ever so legendary and iconic historic building at 316 North Big Spring Street, Pachuco's blends rich and unique flavors in a conveniently pleasant and vibrant atmosphere. Enjoy the highest quality barbecue, savory tacos, burgers, and a variety of other mouth-watering dishes that reflect the spirit of a true Pachuco cuisine. Real, authentic, and just plain different. Check out their menu at www.pachucos432.com or call 432-218-8806 to inquire, or better yet, just show up and get your shine on. At Pachucos, where heritage, exquisite taste, and hospitality come together for an unforgettable dining experience. Pachucos, Midland, Texas. Now back to the show.
Yeah. There's lots of things that you said in there that I would like to go on, but one, just to go back to something you had said at the very beginning, that when we stretch ourselves, when we were faced with adversity, reading, right, to learning, our brains rewire to find the solution, right? When you expand, when you allow yourself to expand, when you allow yourself to look around instead of so blinded, by reading and entertaining different ideas, different thoughts, to allow your synapses in your brain, because your brain is AI. It really is,
in some ways, yes, it is. They're quite similar, some mechanisms. Yes.
Very similar. It's the nodes, the different nodes of synapses, and they're all working together in kind of an unexplainable way where we really don't know yet. Just like, so on AI, we really don't know how we put it together, but we actually really don't know how it's actually working and how it's advancing so fast. And these explosions, and when the last couple of years have been insane, and every day there's advancements, there's something happening. It's the landscape is in constant flux, a constant change, always advancing. It's like these different iterations, from 2.5 to 3, 3.5 to 4, like all they just keep expanding, but they're tremendous differences in them, and you can see it. And even the creators of these LLMs themselves are like, I don't know how it's really doing it, but yeah, here you go. I'm going to charge you $100 for it.
Yeah.
It's like quantum physics.
Yeah. Like, no, this is what I find exciting, that they keep improving on them because it's also based on the patterns we've been noticing, right? So like in the past, like for example, the biggest shift nowadays is from chatbots to agentic work. Because in the past, what do? You go to ChatGPT, you give it a text instruction, a prompt, right? And you get back a response, an output. Now, it doesn't make slides for you. It doesn't build a website. It just told you what to do, where to go, what button to click, and you try to follow those instructions that were usually smart enough. Nowadays, you're actually starting to see, for example, with Claude Cowork, with Claude Code, with Codex from ChatGPT, you tell it something and it actually goes and does it.
Yes.
You say, like, I need a new website for this offer. Help me put it together. These are my brand guidelines and brand colors. I need to prepare for a client a presentation. I need you to check my emails and I need you to help me brainstorm a new idea. I'm going to go grab an espresso. I come back. I want this done. And it does it.
Yeah.
Right? Which again, it's empowerment. But at the same time, also, it's not the AI that's doing these tasks. It's me deciding. It's me orchestrating because like it's all about what am I focusing on, right? Like what problem am I tackling? How am I deciding to help these people? And then I have my trusty instrument, which is this like, assistant that helps me do it faster.
Yes. Yes. It's much like the invention.
Right? I want to spend 1 day, not 1 week making a website. And my client also wants to spend 1 day, not 1 week getting his website. So why would you not want this?
Right. Why not? Why not? And where the first draft is pretty close to the final draft, like it's almost spot on because your messaging, your intention, the purpose of the business is uploaded up front. Yeah. No, that's I love where that's going. So Alex, let's see if we can, I want to pick your brain here to see if we could give the audience some practical like application value here. So let's just start basic, simple, the art of the prompt. What's your theory? What can you tell us about that?
One thing that drastically changed now for the prompt is that I actually use voice. So one of the main barriers, look, in making good prompts was it takes too much time. Like I'm a nerd. I enjoy doing this, but I can tell you majority of people out there do not want to spend 20 minutes figuring out a master prompt. And that's okay. What I do nowadays, I use transcription tools. There's one called Whisperflow. You also have it incorporated inside ChatGPT, Claude, like these kind of transcription buttons, right? You click on a little microphone, you talk, and then it transcribes it. So what you do actually nowadays is just you talk in a natural manner, whatever makes sense to you, you brain dump, and you say it based on this task or my need, prepare for me a prompt based on best practices from this service provider. What I mean is if you're using Gemini, you want the best practices from Google. If you're using ChatGPT, you want the best practices from OpenAI because they already made these 50-page guides on how to power prompts that nobody read because people are busy. I did them, but nobody cares. So then all you need to do is just talk with the chatbot, tell it, these are my needs, this is my task. You make a power prompt for me, it does it, and then you use that one, or you save it in your library or whatever. So you make your life 10 times easier. You have much better prompts as a beginner. You talk the task, which gives clarity to you, to your human brain, and it's much easier and scalable and faster. That's kind of how I do it nowadays with clients, and it makes a huge difference.
Huge. I think you just dropped a huge golden nugget right there. For especially like you said, even for beginners, right? Because it is overwhelming. Because beginners are like, okay, I just tell it what I want, okay, and it's real simple. No, okay, you have to work on a master prompt, which means there's all these different variables that you're basically putting parameters on because of what you want. So that's very difficult for someone who's not a coder or not used to thinking in that way. But just talking in the human language and referencing something that's already in the back end of it, that most people don't know about, to create the most efficient prompt for what you're trying to achieve.
And so this has been working wonders for, like, for example, for people I work with, entrepreneurs, small teams, specialized employees. Another one is to also ask the AI to coach you. So whenever you are trying to learn something new, I would say, I need you to help me with this task, but I'm not an expert. Ask me relevant questions to make sure I nail this.
Yeah.
Because, for example, let's go back to your profession, right? To develop websites. I'm not an expert in this. All right.
Mm.
So ask it. I do have ideas how I want to build a new website for launching a new product, a new offer. Ask me relevant questions to make sure that the website converts, that it looks good, that it follows a structure that makes sense for the viewer, right? So then the AI is going to say, look, based on best practices, this is what I would put together. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'm learning. Does that make sense? Okay, proceed, right? So you're learning at the same time while you're prompting, which makes you even more valuable. Not a lot of people do this, basically, to let the AI coach them while they're doing something.
Yes, absolutely. Especially when you don't know enough to put in there, right? Because you know
Right,
what you know.
right.
So
It's because it's
always
not
ask.
your job, right? You're not the expert in that, but you need it. You want to do the task. Because I
Yeah,
can also say, oh, I'm not a web developer, so I'm not going to do anything. But then why are you limiting yourself, right? Now, if
right.
I would need a master that knows what you're doing, I would come to you and pay you. But if I need something fast to get it done just for myself for testing, then I can use AI and learn a little bit of, to be less ignorant, which would be valuable for everybody.
Yeah, yeah,
It's also for you. If I come to you and I give you good specifications for a website, it makes your job easier compared to me coming to you and say, I want a website for wine bottles. And it's like, what does that mean?
what?
Right. And
You
you have to figure it out. So welcome to the life of ChatGPT.
put yourself in ChatGPT's shoes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are great practical tips that anybody can just pick up and start using today.
Right.
You
Right.
know?
Something else that I can tell you that has been helping a lot my clients is like, don't start with the tools, start with your tasks. What I mean is, a lot of people say, "Hey, I've been saw this latest tool. It looks great. I'm testing it." And it's like, and then my question is, why? Why do you need this? What's the value in it? And they don't know because just the hype catches you and you're stuck. Like you're unfocused. You're all over the place. So a lot of times when we work with companies or small teams, we start with them first. I ask them, "What are your main tasks? What's your solution for your clients? How are you delivering it? Why are people buying it? And how can we make this better? Like, what's your tasks connected to this, right?" So we do an audit. We make like a little sheet with like 50 to 100 tasks. Everybody can do this, by the way. Even like solo founders, whoever, right? If you have every day 20 tasks that you're doing to bring your company forward, put them down, write them down. And
Mhm.
based on that, I can suggest you the best relevant tools for that, either for automation or for agents or for social media content, whatever you need. And then it makes sense because it's customized to you, to your needs, to make your life better. Instead of
Yeah.
me throwing at you a list of 50 new tools that why would you be doing that? And a lot of people are doing it and they're wasting time and money with
Mhm.
stuff that's irrelevant to them.
I love that. And, as a solopreneur, somebody who's just operating on his own and it's hard to get all the things that you need. For instance, you as a business owner, you should be reviewing your KPIs on a regular basis. Your books, know your books, know your expenses, know what's coming in, know details. But the time, even though, things are, QuickBooks, right? It's a program. You go in there and you can run a report. You still have to go in there to run the report. And maybe that's not all
Yeah.
you need, but now you need social, your metrics from social media. Okay, now I got to go to all these different platforms and pull the numbers. Well, now I created an automated email that comes from Claude that pulls all of those things. So it hits my inbox in the morning. And now
There you
I
go.
can see everything in one email. I can see
There you
my
go.
entire organization in one email. And it wasn't hard to set up.
There you go. So that's why I see that smart leverage because like I built a similar system for myself. So I have this kind of like AI operating system with Claude where I connect it to my Google Analytics, to my YouTube metrics, to my email inbox, to my accounting per Stripe and stuff like that, right? So whenever I need it, I just ask it. Like,
Mm.
give me a status on what today, what were the expenses, what was the income, did I get any interesting leads, whatever. Just give me like in one email digest. And that's all you need. Because again, at the end of the day, what you need to execute is being in valuable conversations with people, thinking
Mhm.
strategically how to build better services,
Yes.
thinking how can I scale the business, right? You don't want to be spending 42 minutes in QuickBooks trying to download the report. That's not a good use of your time.
And we've been there, you know?
I've been there. That's why I built this. Because at one point I was like, what am I doing with my day? I should just be getting an email from this and go on with my business.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it how it's going.
And also one extra tip that I can give, because we talked a little bit with you before, but like, especially for solopreneurs or founders or small startups, I told you already that thing with the SAC, right? So like most of the time they're stuck just with three things. So if we take a step back, because again, AI is becoming way too much of a buzzword. People think you need AI, but no, you usually have one of those three problems. They're stuck with either the solution, so their product is not valuable enough or well packaged enough. They're struggling with attention, which means usually marketing. They're not getting enough leads to their shop to scale, or they're stuck with the closing, the sales. Are you having a product that gets attention, and can you close on it to get paid and, pay the bills?
Yeah.
So usually it's one of these. And again, you see, when you do this audit properly and you notice that out of these three, you are struggling with closing, then you figure out tools and workflows with AI to help you coach yourself, how to use AI to do better sales calls, how to guide people through a discovery call, right? Because that's what you're needing to double your revenue. And all the other stuff of how to make automated TikTok videos, you don't need none of that. You don't need that.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, for me, based on talking with like hundreds of entrepreneurs in the last like 3 years and founders, freelancers, whatever, the problems are usually one of these three. They're stuck with either the solution needs to be better offer, a better attention mechanism, like, perhaps even doing social media. You have people out there who are saying, it's like, oh, love to get more clients. And like, do you speak at conferences? No. Do you do guides, tutorials online about your product? No. Do you do YouTube videos, right, where you talk about your industry? No. So like, how are people supposed to find you, right? And then, or closing, there are people out there who are amazing with social media. Like, they have an interesting product and they're going viral. And then people get on calls with them and they fumble them all the time because they have no training in sales.
Yes.
Because you need that. If you're a founder and you don't have training in sales, you're missing out. And a lot of successful founders out there, if you read their biographies or you listen to the interviews, they used to be sales guys. Like, at least 50% of them used to be sales guys.
Yeah. Sales, it's pervasive. It can be in any industry, in anything, and that's what you are. You're in sales. If you're a business owner, you're in sales.
And it's such a transversal skill too. Like, when people say, like, oh, I'm struggling to find a wife. Yeah, because you're bad at sales. Because if you were better at pitching what you do and whatever, you'd probably see the benefits in other areas too. And I'm talking from personal experience here. I don't have yet the wife, but when I improved my sales skills, a lot of other areas in my life drastically improved. I'm just going to leave it at that.
No, that is I had this conversation with this older gentleman a while back, and we were going on the same topic. He was talking about, in sales, and I was like, well, how do you know that, you're proficient and you're good at sales? And he said, I've been married for 43 years. Every day I wake up and I make sure I'm the best salesman there is. That's how I've been married for 43 years, because you're constantly selling yourself.
Right. And I don't know why people think it's a bad word, you're being pushy or whatever. Like, no, it's just a matter of creating value for the world and knowing also how to represent it, like how to manifest it. When I talk with you and I say, it's like, oh, I help people understand how do LLMs work in the back end. Who cares, man? Who cares? If I tell them I help you put the AI to work to make more money and save time so you can enjoy time with your family, that's what you're wanting. And that's why I should be able to give you those services. Like, the packaging does make a difference, and people underestimate that.
Oh, yes. Nah, talk to any chef. That's the whole thing, right?
Right.
How does it plate? How does it?
And I see it in Italy all the time. You go to this Michelin starred restaurants, and they give you these smallest portions of my life, man. Like, I look at that, and it's like 10 grams of a seafood, and it's like, what the hell is this? And they charge you like 300 euros. Like, this is insane. They are making an incredible business. They're making 10 times more money than my local restaurant where I used to work 10 years ago. That was like the biggest in my town. So there you go. Packaging.
Yeah.
Sales.
Yes, absolutely. Sales. That's there was a trend there where everybody was being a market. Oh, I'm in marketing, right? It was so oversaturated with trying to put different wrappings around everything. You know?
Yeah.
But where's the core? What's the core? What problem are we solving?
Right. And to
and how,
me, when we talk
right.
about, for example, marketing, the problem is attention. I just want to mention this to the public because I think they can get value from it. Because when I mention this framework that we have, right, with SAC, solution, attention, closing, I used to be in rooms with business owners, right? I had 50 business owners and I asked them, what is marketing? What does that mean? And each and one of them give me a different answer. There's like, it's a doing branding, it's a social media. And it's like, so whenever everybody has a different definition, you don't have clarity. Nobody agrees. So that's why for me, it took me a while to just understand. It's like, it's attention. It is attention. It's just knowing, it's just like people knowing what you're doing, right? And that can be 20,000 different ways. It can be with cold email, with walking into a cafe and explaining to people, right, what you do, doing AI and wine workshops in person, going to a basketball game and hiring a sponsor, stuff like that, right? So like that's what you need to be focusing on. Like, how can I get the attention of the right people to see my useful product, and then knowing how to close them to get paid and give them value, which it's, at the end of the day is achieving this value exchange, the win-win. There you go.
Yes. Yeah. No. And I love that you brought up your program there. Because I think when you distill down the operations of a business, right, the legs the pillars that a business stands on, you have to have a good solution to whatever problem you're solving, right?
Right.
That's number one. That's step one. And when I work with a lot of small business owners, and they're great at that because they saw that they were good at something. They're like, oh, I can do this for people. Okay, that was they're solving the problem for, okay, that's great. They had that solid. But then how do you let people know, right? Where's the attention at? And then the closing. Maybe they're good at what they do, but they can't communicate that from their customer's perspective. So there's they're not closing because nobody understands what the value that they can offer. It might be a tremendous value that they offer, but nobody can understand it. So learning how to communicate that to get that attention, I think is crucial. And, there's all these things that fall under those three pillars that you have there, because.
Right. And that's what I kind of think I'm saying at the end of the day, to me, the real unlock is that AI can help you with all of these. Because when my solution was garbage, I would just roast myself with AI. It's like, why is my website not converting? If I was an expert, how would I pitch this to get people to buy? And I would just get feedback again and again and again. And then with my marketing, I was like, can I make cooler images? Like I'm not a graphic designer. I don't know how to use Adobe Photoshop, but can I make images to improve my post? Yes, I can. Can I use it to make better videos, to do faster video editing, right? Yes, I can. With closing, I have a teaching background. I'm not a sales guy, but I needed to improve, right, to make the business go forward. So I told you already, like in the past, I just used to roast myself. I would ask ChatGPT, use the voice function, put my headphones on and say, you are one of the most annoying clients on the planet. I'm going to call you now and you're going to roast me or you're going to try to push back until we nail this, right? And then I used to have these conversations again and again until when I got into conversations with real people, I knew the flow. I was confident in explaining to them, like, what's the value, what they're getting, what's the pricing, why is that pricing, and what they should expect. When the journey is smooth, everything just works. That's how the good salesmen do it because they had 20 years of experience, but I don't have 20 years to practice it. I have less. And that was the acceleration part.
Yes. I love that. That's another huge golden nugget right there. Huge, right? That's a huge unlock, like you said.
Yeah. Acceleration, the skill acceleration. This is why I find it a great tool, especially for the younger people nowadays, because like you can learn these skills 100 times faster, but you do have to decide, right? Because in my case, I had to decide to build a business. People can just say, I'm going to be an employee and that's it. So they don't decide to build a business. I decided to offer specific services, right? I could have just decided to sell cherries on the corner of the street, but I decided to do education globally. I decided I wanted to do things better. I could have just said, like, I'm making 2K per month. I'm happy with it. Like, no, I want to reach a bigger scale. I want to impact more people. That's how in the end I got invited to Vegas where we met, because when this happened, I was doing free spaces, like Twitter spaces. It's similar to podcasts, pretty much like live podcast, talking about AI developments in education until this guy in the US who organized this conference was like, hey, I keep hearing your events and they're really good. Would you like to come and talk in person to an audience of like 500 business owners? Right? So again, those were decisions that were made by me. AI helped me produce the draft of the episode, to do the research for me, to make it in a digestible format. But the decisions were made by me to help other people.
Yes. Yeah, and you got noticed across the planet.
Right, because again, it goes back to the energy, right? When you put in the energy, the universe will find ways to give it back to you. This is why a lot of times when I hear founders, they're just focused on the money. There's like, oh, I want to use AI to make quick money. Like, this is a terrible incentive because no person, I'm trying to explain it in a way that makes sense because like in my mind, it makes sense, but like, because the intention that you bring, the other person can kind of feel it. When you say, I want to learn AI just because it helps me just because I want to make money, it's like the other person, when you get on the call with them, they can feel that your only desire is for you to get paid. Compared to saying like, my desire is to give you a valuable service and I'm going to use AI to make it better. But like, I do want to do this to help you or to fix a problem or because I'm passionate about something and I'm going to give education, right? And I'm going to do it until people say like, hey, you've been so useful and so authentic, right? And so real. Please come and talk with my other friends or business owners or whatever, because I think you can help them. But it's intention.
Yes. It's intention and a passion for it, a passion for wanting to help others, right?
Right.
Which is that
problem
AI,
solving.
Yeah. And AI, it seems like the perfect tool to make that happen, right? Across
to
the
scale
board.
it. To scale it, right? Because if you're a curious person and you do want to learn things and you do want to help others, AI is going to make you 10 times faster. For you to achieve that, if you really want to do it. And that's why it's interesting to see that it just shows you more of who you really are. Because if you want to become an expert developer and build cool apps and you really care about it, with AI, you can make it happen in 1 month, but they're not doing it. Yeah. If you really want to help, people with research and whatever they're doing in hospitals, you could use this technology to build together a mini app or something to help doctors. Some people do it, but it's a very small minority because it just shows you who you really are. If you're a lazy, unmotivated person who doesn't care about anybody, who does not care about the community, no AI will help you.
Yeah. It's an enhanced amplifier.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Until now, it's an amplifier because like I do have all these agents helping me do stuff, but what are they doing? They are expanding my will, right? Yes. When I wake up in the morning and I decide how I want to impact the world, these 50 agents are giving me more hands to do it. But if I wake up in the morning and my decision is to just do nothing and eat a cheeseburger and be lazy, what are the agents going to do for you?
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Right. And you do wake up with intention. Like that's why you have intention. You have agency as a human to go out there and do stuff. And we live in an incredible world because nowadays you can just take a flight and go wherever you want on the planet. You have these tools that are almost free to use. That's why, to me, one of the mind-blowing aspects is when people haggle with me or debate is but $20, man, I don't know if I should spend this amount. It's like, you spend $50 per week buying booze and you're not spending $20 to get like a useful assistant. Like, I don't get these people.
Yeah. The value, the trade-off is wild. But to go back on what you're saying with the lazy thing, there is this other aspect to it, right? Because either using AI or not. But for those that are using AI, there's a lot of, just being lazy with using it, right? With not learning how to prompt. They're just uploading something else and say, make it like this, but with my information. And so then you get, like, you see it on social media. Everybody's flyer looks exactly the same style, the same fonts, the same theme, but it's different events all over the place. And you're like, okay, is this just what the algorithm's spitting out now? I think it's since Facebook since Meta created the their internal AI. So now everybody's looking the same now. And I'm like, oh, okay, no,
But
we're not.
also this. Also, look, by the way, for this thing specifically, it's not the fault of the AI, it's humans.
Right.
That because I can tell that, for example, I have friends of mine that are artists, that are successful artists, right? They make really cool stuff like movies, photography, music, and they use AI tools, and they're great. They're amazing because they understand film composition, they understand storyline plot hooks. So they basically use their skill and the new tool to make it cheaper, better, faster. And the people out there who are like lazy and unmotivated, they also get access to the tools and they try it. And in the beginning, everybody sucks, and that's okay. But like, it's your job as a human to improve. And if you don't, well, then it's obviously slop. When people say, "Oh, these images are AI slop," man, we used to have human slop 5 years ago, right? We used to have so much images out there on the internet that were garbage, and there was no AI behind it. It was just humans being lazy and not skilled. So like,
Yeah.
I don't think much changed.
Right. I agree with you 100% because even back then, if you put in the work, you were going to separate yourself from the
Right, because like nowadays people say like, "Oh, look at this website. It's been Viber coded and it's slop." Okay, man, look at websites from 10 years ago. There were so many slop websites that were garbage, and you look at them and they would look like dinosaurs. It's like,
Yes.
there was no AI involved, and they were still garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, things stay the same because the people who are going to put in the work, they're going to get the results from that.
These people are getting much more results. That's the difference. Because nowadays, with social media, where everybody can see valuable work and it goes viral when you actually cook something good, it's been a force multiplier. Because nowadays, right, you come from a poor family and you spend some time on learning a skill and you publish it on the internet. Now, look, again, it's my example, right? Coming from being a nobody, but just posting this stuff while all my people are saying, "What is this AI? What are you talking about?" Right? And then in the end, I end up from my little hometown here to go in Vegas to talk about this, to travel to New York, to do what I've been doing, right? Make also the amount of money that I made because I use this to learn the skills, to share it with people, and put it out there on social media. 30 years ago, this was not a possibility. I mean, this mobility, like I just couldn't do it. If I was born in a family of fishermen, where am I going? Like, what am I gonna become a tech guy? How? It's gonna be very hard.
Yeah.
But
No,
nowadays, for my kids, just like, hey, do project-based work, learn whatever you want to do, solve the problems for some people, publish on the internet some guides, some helpful stuff, and there you go, from nothing to something incredible in the span of like, I don't know, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, 1 year. People say, but one year of consistency is like, time goes by anyway. You might as well start doing useful things.
So where do you want to stay where you're at right now? Right?
Right. Because they say like, "Oh my God, 1 year to learn this, or like 2 years. So what? You can also spend 2 years being useless and they're still going to pass."
And you're still going to be on the other side of those 2 years and you're still going to be in the same spot. Yeah, no, right. It's constant progress, constant change, constant evolution. I think we're wired for,
Right. And I'm not saying it's easy, by the way, like I don't want to be selling people the easy dream. Like, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm saying it's simple. That's the difference. Right. Because, also similar to me, like as a business owner, for example, in your case, you have 100 episodes in your podcast. You're top 10% of the world of podcasts, according to statistics. And I would say doing podcasts, I wouldn't say it's like, it can be complicated sometimes, but like, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's simple. Like, you have to get good guests, you have to be in front of the mic, and you have to be valuable enough every week.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's not like you have to build rocket ships, but it does involve a high degree of consistency and simple execution, relentless execution.
Mm-hmm. I feel that anything in life worth it is worth that. The consistency, swinging the hammer, just coming in and doing it again, putting the reps in. That's how the greats become the greats.
Right. Right. It's like the simple things done again and again. Like, you look at Michael Jordan, right? It's like he simply threw the ball like 100,000 times until he scores like 90% of his shots. And it's like, what is the thing? It's just throwing a ball in a net. Okay, but like you do it for dozens of hundreds of times.
Yeah. Over and over again. You're
Compared to the people who never did it, right? Like, why is Michael Jordan making $20 million per year? Because he's the best at what he does. He did many more mistakes than the amount of times you ever tried.
Yes. Yes. Then that's where it's at. Not afraid to fail, because we are going to fail. But hey, all right, let's go. Get up and go again.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. Love that. I would love Alex. So, we've had this discussion about AI, and you gave some amazing practical tips, which I hope really all of you at home are taking notes on those tips. But now let's project out into the future. Where do you see AI going? Where is it taking us?
I predicted the future once. I wonder if I can do it 2 times. Because back in 2019, I basically predicted ChatGPT. Nowadays, where are we going with this? There are two things happening at the same time. One of them is the dystopic future where people get slowly replaced because if they are lazy, they do not want to learn new things, AI is catching up.
Yeah.
So we live in times where being mediocre and hoping to get away with it, it's not really going to cut it. We also live in an exciting world where these changes are making human life much more interesting. To think that you can have in your pocket this level of intelligence that can help you with everything in your life, with your health, with your connections, with your community, with your work, it's a huge unlock compared to thinking I have to go to my office from 9 to 5 and stay there and just send emails all day long. Like that's my life, right? We don't have to live that life anymore. So I think changes are going to happen in different ways. Also because when you see the perspective, I travel quite a lot in the world, right? So you see the differences between how AI is being done in the States or in China or in Italy. So it's not going to be equal. There are going to be problematics. There are interesting unlocks that we're seeing, right, in terms of AI solving problems for physics, medicine, health, which is amazing, right?
Yes.
And then you have the problem with like jobs of AI displacing people that have like low skills. And then other types of new developments that can be in terms of like robots, right? Being able to help us do work easier, faster. What I think is we live in a time where if you are a person that wants to make things happen, this is the best age to be born in.
Yes. Yeah.
Because look, we don't have any more problems with hunger. I mean, again, if you were born in Africa, you'd probably still have those, unfortunately. But if you were born like in Europe or the States, you have access to food, shelter, and water, which allows you to have a laptop, to open it, to learn, to do things that can change the world, which I find incredible. I find exciting. I find beautiful. So as long as you decide to have that mindset where it's like, I'm leveraging technology, I'm staying in contact with my community, I'm solving problems for humans out there, you will win big time. No matter what changes in the history of humanity, it's always been like that. People who are innovators, forward thinkers, who tried things.
Yes. Yeah. I largely agree with that. Get out there and try it. Do something, like you said, most of the world now, the baseline is, okay, we have a roof, and even if we don't have a laptop, we can go to the local library,
right,
and access to the internet, for free.
And I used to go to the library, by the way. Like I used to go, like that's what I'm saying. I'm surprised that not more people go there. Like I used to go to the library and get the, because back in my days, a book used to cost me $20. All right. Yeah. I used to have to work like half a day for those $20. So it was cheaper for me to just go there and lend those books, right? For like a week or two, and then read them and bring them back. And then they have also the computer with access to internet where I could check Wikipedia or something, right? So the tools are there if you want to make an impact. And if you don't, well, I mean, at the end of the day, also, we live in a world that rewards problem solving. that
Yes.
rewards people with energy, that rewards people who go out there and impact the species, the community, the country. If you don't have intention of building anything, then it's like, why are you cannot expect, to be a millionaire if you're not helping 10,000 people live better lives.
Love that. Yes. Yes. And it is about helping people, right? Progressing just like you said, our species,
Right. But because look, at the end of the day, also, it goes back to the beginning of our conversation today. It's like, why are we doing all these things? For the community.
Yes.
When you are being useful to your people, to your family, you feel an alignment. You feel like you are doing what you're supposed to be doing, compared to the opposite, where you are a millionaire and nobody cares about who you are and what you do. So you live isolated. You live on the internet all day long. You are coding all day long. So it's like, it doesn't matter anymore, because like you're living in such a separated reality. And that's why I think a lot of people struggle nowadays, because they lost the initial purpose of just simply connecting with the community, of doing cool things with cool people.
Yes. I love it.
And ideally getting paid for it. Ideally reaching a point where these cool things you're doing are valuable enough that cool people are willing to exchange money with you for them, because it's a win-win.
Yes.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Why would you not want this? This is the ideal situation where you should be in, by the way, because I remember back in the days, right? One of these books that I was reading was the sales guy called Brian Tracy. I don't know if you know him. He's an old school sales guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he used to say, you will never love a job where you're bad. No matter what you do, if you're mediocre at what you do, you'll always hate it.
Yeah.
So then it's your duty to be good at it, because then it's the opposite is true. We don't love and do things. We love the things we do well. You can even be a carpenter, right? You can be like make chairs, wooden chairs, but if you're making beautiful chairs that people are delighted to sit on it, you'll be happy about your life, because we crave mastery. And that's what you should be focusing on. And this is why it's great to have these tools that allow you to reach mastery, not in 10,000 hours like the book from Robert Greene, but in 1,000 hours, which is amazing.
Yes, that is amazing. I love that. I love that, Alex. Man, hey, do you have any? First of all, thank you for being cool and doing a cool thing with me. I appreciate that so much. And you said a lot here, but is there any last kind of something you would like to say? Tell the listeners out there.
Yeah, just one thing, like a takeaway for people, like if they're using AI for the benefit of their family, of their business, of their community, keep doing it. If you're on the fence, it still pays for you to be educated on the topic. So ignoring it is not going to make your life better. Even if people sometimes they want to argue with me, right, about water consumption of AI or if it's stealing people's jobs, that's okay. We are humans. We debate all day long on 10,000 topics, but at least be educated on it. It will always help you in life.
I love that. All right,
This
Alex.
is coming from a dishwasher, by the way. Yeah, just contextualize.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was a car washer, so
Soap and a lot of hand movement.
Yeah, wax on, wax off, man.
Yes, sir.
Well, cool, Alex. I really appreciate your time. Thank you for being with us here. And really looking forward for this episode coming out. And really would love to stay connected with you, brother.
Sure, it was a pleasure. I hope to see you one day if you ever come to visit me in Italy. And if people want to learn more about AI or whatever, they can also just text me or whatever, text you or leave some comments or ask us so we can help them.
So tell them, where can they follow you at? How do they find you?
They can follow me on LinkedIn. I post content there daily for professionals, right? So you just search for Alex Northstar on LinkedIn. You should find my profile at the little black and golden, or my website. I have a website called northstarbrain.com. And there I also offer resources and even a little audit that you can do for free. So it's 10 questions to see where you're at, where do you need help, and I could just give you all these resources for free based on understanding your part of the journey, where you are currently on the journey with AI. So
awesome.
LinkedIn, website, or just visit me in Italy so we can grab tiramisu together, but maybe a bit further away. In Roma.
Yes. No, I'm. That's on the bucket list. I'm coming for sure to get some cappuccino, man. It's an espresso.
You should. It's gonna be an amazing time. I promise you that.
Appreciate you, Alex. All right, man.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much.